I scored this off of eBay. This is a, I believe, a 1940s Zeiss Super Iconta folding camera, they call it. And that's why they call it a folding camera. This particular model has an amazing lens, Tessar lens 2.8. So it's pretty fast. It's an 80mm lens, so it's perfect for like portraits. It has a rangefinder, so you basically look through the one hole and line up the two images to get in focus. It's a great camera, man. It's just made beautifully. I mean, the workmanship, you know, it's got the Zeiss icon right there. It's got all the beautiful top on it. You know, all the chrome. It's just gorgeous. This is a beautiful camera. This uses 120 film, by the way. When I bought this camera off eBay, the seller said that it was in really great condition, which, you know, aesthetically it's in really great condition, but when I got it, after firing the shutter 2 or 3 times, it locked up against the aperture blades inside. So I spent about 3 hours taking the lens apart, taking the shutter assembly apart, and redoing the aperture blades and shutter blades, and whew, it was a task. You know, for somebody who's not, I don't have a lot of experience rebuilding shutters and stuff like that, that was a task. But once I got it going, it is a beautiful shooter. It shoots great. It's just a beautiful camera to hold, you know, and it's just amazing. I love this thing. It's incredible. Okay, this is another one of my favorite, probably my all-time favorite camera, 35mm ever built. You know, this was my dream camera. This is one of the first cameras I bought when I went back into getting into photography. I took some time off to try to get in the digital thing, and it just basically killed my inspiration. I shot a couple hundred digital shots, and it was uninspiring, kind of knocked the wind out of my sails, and I quit shooting. So anyways, I always said that if I got back into it, I would save up and get a Leica, you know, the legendary Leica. This is my baby. It's a beautiful 1957 Leica M3. This camera shoots as good as it looks. I mean, it's just incredible. The lens on it, I bought the body without a lens, but I happened to find a lens, and this lens is a 1948 lens. It's a scimitar lens. Let's see if you can see the aperture. It's a 1948 lens, and it's just magical. It just has a beautiful way of, they call it the Leica glow. I guess it's an older lens, older glass from the 40s, and it has a slight tint to the glass that makes colors really, you know, bloom, and the bouquet is just beautiful. It's an f2 lens, so it's pretty good for low light. I'm able to shoot comfortably with the 1/15 of a second shutter. This doesn't have a SLR flap on it. It has just a standard curtain. It's double stroke. So it's the earlier one. You have to cock it twice, stroke it twice to cock it, and then it's just a little tick of the shutter, man. It is just so smooth and quiet, and I mean the viewfinder is so bright. It has parallax correction. It is just amazing. This thing is beautiful. It's like a work of art, really. I mean, if you ever get the chance to shoot with a M3. I mean, it's built like a tank in Germany, and it's just heavy, and heavy cameras tend to give you less shake than light cameras. Light cameras tend to have vibration because your hands are always shaking. But this is my baby. This is an awesome camera, black and white or color. It is fantastic. I have a couple lenses for it. I'd like to get a couple more, but there's so much money. Even the old lenses are bringing big money. This camera is one that really, you know, it was expensive new back in the 50s, and it's still expensive now, you know, as far as film cameras go. Okay, up next is the Lomography Lca, made in Russia. This camera is mid-90s. This camera is what started the Lomography Society and the whole, you know, lomography movement. This is the camera that started it all, basically. It's got zone focusing. So you got to like roughly 3 feet, 5 feet, 10 feet, and then infinity, and anywhere in between those. The other setting, I just leave it in auto mode. This is used for flash when you're using a flash. I don't use a flash most of the time, but you just set it in auto mode, and it automatically adjusts the aperture and the shutter speed for you. So it's basically like a really easy point and shoot. You just set the focus where you're at and shoot. This camera is one of my all-time favorites as well. It has the most personality out of any 35mm camera I've ever used. The pictures that come out of this camera are beautiful. They have really nice vignetting, really good color saturation. It's just like a magical little camera. It really shoots well, and I love it, man. It's just small, and you can stick it in your pocket, and pretty much every roll that comes out of it, it's just, there's always at least, you know, half the roll. That's incredible. I bought this at a camera repair shop, and I asked the guy if he had any, and he's like, oh yeah. He goes, I got a couple of those pieces of shit in the box over there. They're not working. And I said, well, if you can get one working for me, I'll pay you $60 for it. And his eyes lit up, and he's like, okay. So he got one working for me in a couple days, and I bought it for $60, and it's amazing. You know, it's incredible. I love this little guy. Up next, we have a Diana camera. It's called a toy camera. Basically, it's just a plastic toy camera. It does use 120 film, and what makes this camera really great is that the lens is just, I mean, it's a plastic lens, but man, you get so much personality out of the pictures. You get so much softness in the corners, and I mean, it's just really incredible. You kind of don't really know exactly what you're going to get out of the roll, but what I have got is very beautiful artistic stuff. This is actually an original one, I believe, from maybe the 60s. It's made in Hong Kong. They do make them now in China. This is an original one, and it's got the same thing. It's got a zone focusing here on the front, you know, and then it has your shutter speed B, and it's got 3 settings for your aperture: really cloudy, cloudy with sun, and sunny. It's a great little camera, man. I had to do some adjustment to the viewfinder to make it, you know, kind of shoot right, because it wouldn't work right. But it's a great little camera. I love it. Up next, we have a twin lens reflex camera. This one is a Minolta Autocord. I believe it was probably made in the 60s. It's basically a copy of a Rolleiflex camera. It's got the same top view, you know, kind of finder, waist level finder. Kind of see what's going on here. I found this one at a pawn shop. It had little issues. I went ahead and get in there and messed with and got it working better. But it's got essentially, this is your viewing lens. So when you look through the top, you view through this lens. It comes out, and this lens is your picture taking lens. So this lens is the one that actually, you know, where the light hits the film. This is 120 film, and the lens is a 3.5 f3.5. So it's not terribly fast, but it's definitely sharp, and it definitely shoots well. Here's your focusing slider, moves across, and it basically just takes this whole front and moves it closer or further back to focus. And you wind the film here with the winder. Definitely attracts attention, like the Super Iconta when you're out there. So up next we have this is a Canon Demi. It's Canon's first half-frame camera. I got excited when I found it because I wanted a real half-frame camera, and it's also a zone focusing. This is the lower model. This is the original model, so it has zone focusing instead of, let's say, a rangefinder type focusing. This one was in kind of rough shape when I got it. I needed a lot of work. I got it pretty cheap, but still. And what the half frames do is, in a roll of 24, you know, they give you 48 exposures and, you know, 36 and so on. So it's kind of it just makes it the negative. There's a double image on where, you know, where the normal 35mm frame would be. After fixing it up and doing some work and kind of having a little cheat sheet in the back here, because the meter really doesn't work, but it's another great little shooter, man. Well, thanks for checking out my video. This is basically scratching the surface. I have about 60 cameras, and the ones I showed you were, you know, some of the more interesting ones. Be sure to leave comments and let me know what kind of cameras you have, or leave a video response with maybe a camera you have. I'm always up to see cool cameras. Thanks for watching. See you later.